Christian Ford never imagined his life would change at a gas station that looked like it had been forgotten by time. The sky was darkening over rural Oklahoma when his old truck rolled to a coughing stop right outside the rusted pumps of Dean's Quick Stop. His 5-year-old son, Eli, stirred awake in the passenger seat, eyes wide and confused. "Where are we, Daddy?" Christian glanced around. The paint on the storefront was peeling, the sign hung crooked, and the place looked more like a scrapyard than a working business. But something about it, maybe the way the wind stirred the prayer flags hanging from the awning, made him stay. He wasn't just running low on fuel. He was running low on hope. It had been a hard 2 years. His wife, Lydia, passed suddenly from a brain aneurysm, and Christian had struggled to keep his carpentry business alive while being a full-time single dad. Jobs dried up. Clients vanished. The city felt too crowded with memories. So, with little more than a beat-up truck, a box of tools, and Eli, he set out to find a new beginning. And somehow, that search had brought him here. He opened the creaky door of the shop and stepped inside. Behind the counter stood a woman in her early 30s. She wore denim overalls over a faded t-shirt, her brown hair pulled into a messy bun. Grease smudged one cheek. She was barefoot. And beautiful. Her name was Hope. "Can I help you?" she asked with a guarded smile. Christian explained his situation. The truck stalled. No money. Just a boy, a dream, and empty hands. Hope looked at him carefully, then said, "Well, the pump don't work. Ain't worked in years. But I've got coffee. And I got pancakes if you and your boy are hungry." That night, Christian and Eli slept in the garage behind the shop. On an old mattress. Under a leaking roof. It wasn't much, but Hope had given them more warmth than he'd felt in a long time. Hope Daniels was the town's ghost. People whispered behind her back. She was the crazy gas station girl. She'd grown up there, daughter of a reclusive man who ran the station and never trusted banks. When he died, people expected Hope to vanish. But she stayed. What no one knew was that Hope had been abandoned by her fiancé when she got pregnant. Her baby girl was stillborn. The trauma shattered her. Her father, Dean, never forgave the man who broke her. And Hope, she just disappeared inside herself. Until Christian showed up. He worked around the place in exchange for staying there. Fixed shelves. Painted walls. Slowly, bit by bit, he turned junk into something that resembled a home. Hope watched. Quietly grateful. Slowly warming. Eli adored her. Called her Miss Hope. And eventually, just Mama Hope. Over the next few months, something happened. Hope laughed again. Christian smiled more. They shared coffee at sunrise, and stories at night. He showed her how to sand old furniture. She taught him how to fry catfish. He helped her believe in the world again. She helped him believe in love. One night, as fireflies danced beyond the porch, Christian took her hand and said softly, "I didn't come here looking for you, but I think God brought me here anyway." Hope cried as he knelt and proposed with a ring made from scrap copper wire. They got married in the backyard, under a string of dollar store lights. The whole town didn't come, just a few people who still believed in second chances. Eli was the ring bearer. Hope wore her mother's wedding dress. And they said I do with more truth than any fancy ceremony ever could. Now, married and hopeful, Christian set to work trying to fix the gas station. Hope's father left behind dozens of rusted filing cabinets, weird contraptions, even a locked safe. The place was falling apart, but Christian was determined to bring it back to life. One afternoon, while clearing the basement, he found a hidden panel behind a shelf. Inside was a dusty box labeled Hope's Dowry. Confused, he opened it. Inside were ledgers. Maps. Deeds. A strange leather journal. And gold coins. Christian's hands trembled as he flipped through the pages. It was her father's handwriting. Detailed notes of oil deposits, royalties, and transactions going back decades. Underneath it all, there was one thing that made his breath stop. A signed contract from an oil company, now worth over $200 million. Hope came down the stairs just as Christian dropped the book. "Hope, did you know about this?" She shook her head. "No. My dad always said there were secrets in the walls. I thought he meant old family drama." Christian didn't speak for a long while. Then he said, "You inherited a fortune, and didn't even know it." Hope's knees buckled. She fell into his arms, crying. The news changed everything. But not the way you might expect. Hope didn't move into a mansion or buy a Ferrari. She didn't run from the town that had ridiculed her. Instead, she used the money to build Hope Haven, a shelter for single parents, struggling veterans, and abuse survivors. The gas station remained, restored and running, but it became more of a symbol than a business. Christian built tiny homes on the property. Hope managed the outreach. And Eli? He thrived in the love of two parents who'd chosen each other despite their broken pasts. The town changed too. People started talking less and helping more. Some apologized. Others joined in. Hope and Christian proved something powerful: you don't need a perfect beginning to have a beautiful life. Challenges they faced. Christian struggled with grief, financial ruin, and raising a child alone. Hope battled depression, public shame, and deep trauma from loss and betrayal. Together, they faced skepticism, financial hurdles, and the uphill task of rebuilding a literal junkyard into something meaningful. How they overcame. Christian used kindness and patience to heal Hope. Hope used resilience and love to lift Christian. They leaned on faith, community, and the belief that broken people can build whole lives together.